Welcome back. This is By the Book, and we're your married relationship coaches. I'm Cent.
I'm Sil.
And today we're talking about Love is Blind Season 2. Real briefly, we're talking about Iyanna, as in Iyanna and Jarrette, who are now no longer married. Iyanna did a TikTok, I think, video about this, and she's sad. You know, she opens it up saying it's official. She can barely get through it, you know, without tearing up. She looks like she's already been crying. And even though they made the announcement that they were divorcing months ago, right? I guess it's just now been finalized, which divorces do take some time sometimes, but it's been finalized. And, you know, she's just kind of reflecting upon that. You know, she's trying to speak in power, but she's still hurt. You know, she's still going through the grieving process of a failed marriage.
True.
It is official. Divorce really is like a grief, and as much as people laugh at how long we were married, I think my expectations made it real, my hope made it real, my effort made it real, my tears made it real.
My heart goes out to her. It's a difficult time.
Yeah.
It like she said, it's a time for grieving. It's a time for mourning. A lot of people don't understand that or see that, especially when you've never gone through it. And so it is kind of like a death. And so I understand the pain that she's going through, and my heart goes out to her. It really does. And so
I think she's easy to empathize with, right? Like, Iyanna was one of those people who we didn't have anything bad to say about, ever. No. And it's sometimes easy for us, I think, to look at what we see on TV and scream at the TV almost and be like, no, you know, don't say yes to him. He's not ready. Because that's kind of what it looked like from our end. I think the things that she didn't get to see as we got to see them, at least in the sequence that we got to see them in, were big though. You know, she didn't see how into Mallory Jarrette was. Yeah. And I think she's
crying in the towel.
Yeah. You and that crying in the towel.
He cried a lot in that towel.
I think that the scene where they were at their group vacation, I guess. I want to call it a honeymoon, y'all, but it wasn't because nobody was married yet. But at the group vacation, when Jarrette is having, I think, pretty inappropriate conversations with Mallory, talking about what type of ring he would have gotten her, etc. We don't really know how much of that conversation she heard in real time. Yeah. The editing shows that she was able to see it, but she wasn't necessarily in earshot. But we know it was an inappropriate conversation going on. We know that at least Sal thought that it was an inappropriate conversation going on and said something to Jarrette about it. So did she address it? Did she give it as much weight as maybe it should have had? Who knows? But I think that maybe if she had seen the show in its entirety prior to saying yes or no at the altar, it might have changed her mind as to what she was going to say. And I think that's why, I believe this was in the comment section of her Instagram, correct me if I'm wrong, where someone commented that, you know, like, these people know what they're getting into. And Natalie from the same season was quick to chime in and say, no, production does a lot of manipulation here. I did not screenshot it, and I should have because she's since taken it down. But you just get the whole essence that, like, production has a lot to say in terms of what goes on and what people are even choosing to say, because Natalie did say, I do remember this part, she said that production almost convinced her to say yes until she kind of stepped back and thought about it. I don't know how that could happen, but I mean, I'll take her word for it. You know, if they're convincing enough, or are they offering you something to say yes? We don't know exactly what's going on there. But it seemed like, at least for Iyanna, she went into this thing with very pure intentions. And she tried to work around those things with Jarrette that were tough.
Yeah.
You know, it seemed like his biggest thing, right, was still going out, still drinking a lot, hanging out until 4 a.m. And most married people don't want to deal with something like that.
No. You know, for me, and I think for a lot of people, that's going to scream that you still want to be single. You know, you're hanging around with single people. You're in a single person's environment. So what's the allure? What's the appeal? Other than you still want to be single. You still want to be known as single. You still want to have the allure of singleness. And so that's kind of like a red flag for a lot of people.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think it is. And I think that's what people are getting at with Iyanna. Although, I mean, I won't say she's entirely blameless, but she's very easy to be relatable. Yeah. Like, I have a hard time blaming her for anything because of how pure her heart was going into this thing. But just in essence, I think people are saying she missed a lot of red flags with him. But I'm wondering, were those red flags shown to her too late? Like, has she already said her I do when the red flags were more or less revealed? Jarrette is a nice guy. He's like a charming type of personality. Yeah. And I think I don't know what he expected going into a marriage. I think he definitely wasn't ready for what marriage looked like to her. I think for him, marriage would have been an extension of his single life. So I think, this is my guess, and like I said, I do know Jarrette, but I'm not like tied in close with him. You know, we played sports together and stuff like that, so I understand some aspects of his personality, but not him very well in relationships. So I think, though, he would have been okay with someone who was ready to go hang with him. I think he would have brought her to the football field, the softball field. Now remember, they were married while we were still playing softball.
Yeah, I remember.
And we didn't know about it, and he didn't ever bring her around. Nobody ever saw her. So maybe that was part of the contract. Like, he wasn't allowed to bring her around or something like that. But they could have presented as just dating or something like that. But I don't know what the show would have allowed. But I think he would be okay with the type of person who would ride with him. And just be like, okay, well, yeah, you going to play football? Yeah. You going to play softball? Yeah. You going to the club? I'm there. And maybe that's what he was looking for in a marriage, as opposed to like, okay, you're done with work. It's time to come home and sit down and be a husband. Yeah.
Maybe that's it. Or could it just been, he was really, like you were just saying, he was really wrapped up into someone like Mallory. And she's not Mallory. And so could it have been that this was his escape, you know, just to kind of like get away from the marriage, get away from the household, because she really didn't fit the total bill that he was really like looking for. I mean, it sounds awful, but men have done that and a lot worse. So
I mean, it could have been. It's as good a theory as any. I just, to us looking at it on the screen, we're looking at it like, okay, Iyanna is just a totally different type of person from Jarrette. You know, like, she seems more like a homebody. She wants that traditional style marriage. Like, we get done with work, we come home, we cook dinner, we watch TV together. And in no way did that fit into Jarrette's lifestyle. Now, when we saw like the follow-up episodes and stuff where they were still trying to make it work, but they were struggling through, it seemed like he wanted to make changes for her.
He was saying that.
So you don't think it was legit?
No. I think the cameras were there. They even put him in front of her family, her parents. And I think he was saying all the right things to give the, again, I'm going to use this word again, allure. He was given the allure that he was going to do the right thing. And I think her mom was even kind of like asking him at that time, I'm counting on you to do the right thing, you know? And I think he was saying it, you know, to get through that moment, to get through the taping, you know, to present like, okay, we have some rough spots. Some of that is my fault, and I'm ready to fix it.
Do you think he wanted to get divorced?
The question is, did he really want to get married?
So you think he got on the show for other reasons?
I think that's
unless he's doing something like underground that we don't know about yet. Like he's one of the least public people out there. You don't see him doing a lot of interviews or anything like that. Yeah. So it's hard for me to believe like he had that type of an ulterior motive. I don't know.
Sometimes things are appealing until we get into it and be like, oh, I'm gonna be on this show and I'm gonna become semi-famous or whatever. Yeah, that sign me up. That's all good. You know. But until you are actually in it and the cameras are following you around, maybe some people noticing you at the grocery store, it's different. It's different. Yeah. You know, you don't know until you do it a lot of times. And the reason why I say I really don't think he was ready to be married is because the whole stick of the show is people say, yeah, I'm ready to get married. But then when they actually get into this living arrangement with their fiance, it all begins a lot of times to fall apart because, truth be told, they're not ready to be married, especially not to that person who they're living with.
Yeah, maybe. But then why say yes at the altar?
That's a really good question.
$64,000 question. Yeah, I don't know, because that's the thing that I like, I guess, about the format of Love is Blind. I talk to my husband about this sometimes versus Married at First Sight. At least you do get a trial run. You know, you get to see a little bit. And yes, it may feel like it's kind of more of a fairy tale or something like that. But I think in 4 weeks, they get, a week or 2 weeks or something on vacation, and then they get to real life for a couple of weeks, and they get to decide. At least they get to, like I said, it's a test drive or something before they have to say yes or no. And I would think that, okay, him getting the idea, look, I'm out in the real world. I saw what Mallory looks like. I wish I had picked her or something like that.
I wish she had picked him.
Or, right. I wish she had, say yes to me. Or, you know, Iyanna's lifestyle is kind of boring. She want to sit home and read books. I'm trying to go out and kick it. You know, whatever. Like, maybe this isn't the right time. They could have given it more time.
Possibly.
Unless there's like a big fat bonus for saying yes at the altar. I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't know.
But you know what? At the end of the day, the divorce is final. And I hate divorce. And I don't wish that on any couple. But in the grand scheme of things, then I would have preferred, I prefer it this way. That they went on ahead and they got the divorce now rather than like
to
10
drag
or
it out,
15
have
years
some kids.
later. Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Agreed.
know, so...
Agreed.
Yeah.
And she'll be better for it. She's right. I mean, I like that she's not trying to make it something that it isn't. She's not trying to be more okay than what she is. She's dealing with it in real time. She's not on there talking about how she graduated from her marriage. You know, she's being very realistic about it. It hurts now, but she'll grow from it. Yeah. You know, hopefully he will too.
Yes.
So... anyway, guys, we just wanted to kick that around with you guys a little bit and see what your thoughts are. Thoughts about, like, were either of them prepared to be married? I know a lot of people say Jarrette wasn't, and maybe he wasn't. Or maybe his ideal marriage just looks like an unconventional one. I don't know.
Awesome.
But I guess maybe we'll see later on down the line when he gets married again.
Yeah.
If he's changed or if he found somebody that'll go to the club with him until 4 a.m.
Maybe they'll have another Love is Blind and bring it back to Chicago and, you know, sign Jarrette up one more time.
Oh, my goodness. All right, guys. Well, drop those comments below. Let us know your thoughts. Like, share, and subscribe. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye.